Hi, and welcome back to the Math Social. I wanted to make you one more video about dilations. I just wanted to show you when we use these in real life, and I wanted to get a little bit more into the word scale factor. Okay, here we go. So, a scale factor is basically just the number that you would multiply the side lengths by when you're enlarging or reducing a shape. So an example of this is I went to the copy machine and I decided to make a copy of my hand. And in the upper right-hand corner, it read 100%. So what that scale factor did was make an exact copy of my hand. It is the same size, all of my angles are the same, all my finger lengths are the same, everything about it is the same. And that was 100%. So you could also tell me what your scale factor is as a decimal. So to change the percent to a decimal, we're just going to take our invisible decimal point, which is right here, and move it 2 spots to the left. So our decimal form would be 1 or 1.0, but I'm just going to write 1, okay? And then our fraction in this case would actually also be 1. You could write it 1 over 1, but that reduces to just 1. So let's see what it looks like when I made my hand a little bit bigger. This time, I decided to go to the copy machine, and instead of writing 100%, I wrote 120%. So that made my hand a bit larger, as you can see. So 120% would be called the scale factor, made it a little bit bigger. But the scale factor is also sometimes written as a decimal, and it's also sometimes written as a fraction. So in order to turn this percent to a decimal, I'm going to take the invisible decimal that sits right here and move it 2 spots to the left, and I am going to get 1.2 or 1 2/10. Now I'm going to change this decimal to a fraction and see what the scale factor would be like that. So when you change your decimals to fractions, all you really need to do is read that number properly. So if I were to read this number, I would say 1 2/10. That is what place that's in. So 1 2/10 is written like this. And then I just always want to reduce my fractions. So I could write 1 and 2 goes into both of these. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So I would probably say I dilated my hand 1 1/5. And if you dilate by a number any bigger than 1, it is going to make it bigger, okay? This time, I decided to dilate my hand 150%, and this is what I got. So that would be my scale factor as a percentage, 150%. If I move my decimal twice, I would get 1.5. And you might already know what this is like as a fraction, but if you don't, we can write 1 5/10. And then this reduces because 5 goes into both of these numbers. I still have my 1 whole. And then 5 goes into 5 once, and 5 goes into 10 twice. So this would be a dilation of 1 1/2. That means all of my finger lengths, I had the original size, and then I have another half added onto that. So when you dilate a figure, this is the number that you would multiply all of the lengths by. Now the area, it gets a lot bigger. So that has nothing to do with really the area right now. We're just talking about the lengths of everything in my picture. Okay, then I was like, I don't like my hand this big. I want to see what percentage it would be if I wanted to make my hands smaller. So this is what I did. This time I went to the copy machine and I typed in 75%, and this is the cute little hand that I got. Okay, 75%. And if we move our decimal twice, we get 0.75, or we could write this as 75 hundredths. That's what place value it goes out to. And you probably already know this, but 25 goes into both of those numbers. 25 goes into 75 3 times, And 25 goes into 100 4 times. And whenever I work with the number 4 in the denominator, I always think of money and I always think of quarters. So 75 cents would equal 3 quarters. Okay, I wanted to do one more. I wanted to make my hand even smaller. This time, I decided to type in 50%. Now, if I move my decimal twice, I get 0.5 or 5/10, which reduces to 1/2. Now, I just wanted to show you all 3 examples is because sometimes we talk about scale factors in a percentage, sometimes we talk about scale factors in a decimal, and sometimes we talk about scale factors in a fraction. But regardless, they all mean the same thing. And basically, if we have a scale factor of 100% or of the number 1 or of the number 1 as a fraction or a decimal, that is going to keep your shape the exact same size. If we have a percentage that is larger than 100% or a decimal or a fraction that is greater than 1, that is going to make your shape bigger. And then lastly, if we have a percent that is less than 100, like these two, or a number that's less than 1, like these two, that is going to make the shape smaller. I hope that helped. I just wanted to talk really quick again about scale factor and what it all means and all the ways it could be written. If this video made sense to you, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe below. Have a good day.